Morning, good Monday morning, guys. I hope you had an amazing weekend. Well, so much happened over the weekend here on the island, including a very big event. We had some legends gracing us with their pet presence. So we are going to listen, just stay with us. Let's see what's in the headlines first, and then we're coming right back. Don't go anywhere.
Good morning. A former politician is making a case for a return to family values, claiming that this could be one of the keys to solving a host of social problems from poverty to crime. Another is for the government to tackle corruption and white-collar crime at the highest levels.
All of us, and I mean all of us, not only those who work in the tourist industry, but all of us, taxi drivers, ordinary citizens, vendors on the roadside, will suffer economically. So I'm very, very concerned about this. And I tell you, I think about it every day. The way I look at crime is to draw at least 3 circles around the idea of crime or the crime situation. One is a home. You put a home inside the first circle.
Peter Josie, in his appearance on Newsmaker Live last week, examined the role of elected politicians and failed leadership in creating and perpetuating the situation. According to him, politicians are setting a bad example for the country's youth. He also believes that parents have a critical role to play in preventing their children's criminality, and that the disintegration of family and the lack of family order and balance can be directly linked to the erosion of the rule of law and order in the society. The United Workers' Party has reignited calls for the Labour government to take urgent action to address the island's soaring murder rate. Having already recorded double-digit homicides for the year, the UWP is appealing to the Prime Minister and the National Security Minister, Philip Pierre, to put aside political agendas and to place public safety at the top of his administration's policy agenda.
Crime is our business, and that we should all unite as a nation in combating this scourge. The Prime Minister and Minister of National Security is the individual to set the tone and lead the charge in rallying all forces, the police, the public, and indeed the opposition in confronting this crisis. We are a country in crisis. This is the time when all law-abiding St. Lucians should step forward and lend a hand in confronting this problem.
The United Workers' Party continues to take issue with the Prime Minister's repeated rejection of a crime proposal submitted to the government in recent months. Despite the Prime Minister's dismissal of the proposal as disingenuous, Mr. Montoute says the party remains committed to working with the Labour administration to address the crime situation. St. Lucia's national adaptation planning process is set to receive a boost with a $1.7 million injection from the Green Climate Fund for a national adaptation plan readiness project.
We're also looking at the coastal modeling under this initiative, looking at sea level rise and tropical cyclones, and what is the issue, how will it be impacted, how far will the issue of sea level rise impact us? What do we need to do? What measures do we need to put in place? So that coastal modeling is also happening under this project.
The Green Climate Fund Readiness Project was launched on Thursday at the Bay Gardens Hotel. Now, Councillor Alison Joseph Edward has been speaking on the mental health impact of the ongoing violence the country has been experiencing. She says the country has, since the start of the year, recorded at least 12 killings and numerous other violent incidents. And recent studies have shown that people residing in local areas with higher levels of crime and violence suffer more often from depression and psychological distress. Last week, the Medical and Dental Association voiced concern about the psychological impact of the ongoing violence on the medical fraternity.
Violence does impact mental health. You know, when people are exposed to violence, they develop a range of mental health issues. And these issues, and it depends on the range of persons, whether it's, from kids right up to adults, because there are many different issues that can arise from violence. You know, things like suicidal thoughts, sleeping disorders, borderline personality disorder. Studies have shown that exposure to violence can impact individuals' sense of self, their relationships, and even their emotional stability. And as a result of that, we are raising kids that come up from homes that have all of this kind of exposure and develop a certain kind of personality disorder called borderline personality disorder. And then there's anxiety, you know, the uncertainty with all the violent experiences, there's a kind of fear and uncertainty that happens around us. So there's that.
There is growing concern that the public is becoming desensitized due to the constant exposure to violent media. The more people are exposed to violent incidents, the less they feel strongly against them. The council notes that repeatedly sensationalizing violent events can contribute to the decline of empathy in the society. This can in turn lead to tragic events becoming less shocking and people becoming less concerned about them. These are your top stories. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's now take a break. We'll be back in a couple of seconds. Well, like I mentioned earlier, over this weekend we saw the likes of some absolute legendary, iconic figures within the musical industry. Well, that's where most of us know of them. But these are gentlemen who have made contribution in many aspects of life to date. One of them is actually an educator that we are talking about, Honorable Dr. Gabby. Yes, they add honorable to the doctor now, so he's even a higher status that has been bestowed upon him. And we also had Ras Eiley, legendary Ras Eiley, here on the island. And we got the opportunity to have a sit down with them. Well, I did a little interview and we decided, no, when we get this sort of legendary figures, we've got to make the most of it. And we had quite an awesome conversation. So our two features this morning, we had to take that opportunity, I'm sorry. Our two features this morning is just a continuation of two different angles of what we were able to, some wisdom we were able to draw from this gentleman. Here's the first part of the conversation.
Again, I don't know why.
That is it.
You brought me here to RCI to enjoy myself, as you could see, with one beautiful Grenadian lady.
That is it.
Sitting down behind the mic, and you could understand. And she don't have nothing at all in she hand. But I will tell you something, Ian, without a doubt, this lady have a very sweet mouth.
I love it. The transitioning of music over the years, you know, I mean, let's talk to your era. Let's talk to the fact that music that you guys have made within how many years ago still stands up so strong. You know, we don't see many of that happening these days. What was the formula? What was it like? What was the thought pattern when in your era making music? What was the ultimate goal?
Well, my sister, I would say this. I don't know what the guys do today and the ladies, but we never made the music to say we can make some money. Yeah. We made the music for love. And that is the same thing that happened with Bob Marley, the same thing that happened with that early pop music with Benny King and James Brown and them guys, because if you make the music for money, it wouldn't last. Mm-hmm. You have to make it for love and understanding that, you know, you're hoping that 2, 3, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years from when you record it, that people would play and still say, oh my God, this thing sounds as fresh as if it was made yesterday. Mm-hmm. So that's basically what it was. And we put in a lot of time, a lot of energy. Ras went to Trinidad to record with Leston Paul on many, many occasions. And Leston is like our brother, more so than a friend. It's like Ian. Ian's more like my brother than my friend. So, you know, we put in the effort and it paid off, you know. So, you know, you have so many songs and surprisingly people like this one and that one. Somebody say, I like Jack. Somebody say, no boy, give me Boots. Somebody say, no, give me Spring Garden. Somebody say, you know, give me one of Grinder or a Plastic Bag or, you know, Stalin or Chalky or, you know, I could go on and on and on and on. Some of the top calypsonians in St. Lucia too. Right. That made this music from back then, people like Invader and so on. We are so grateful. We are always like grateful to hear other artists work, because it's not about you, it's about us, and it's about like supporting and praising and bigging up other artists' work and admiring it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not a situation where this 3M syndrome, like me, my, and mine. Mm-hmm. It's just far deeper, wider, and more meaningful than that.
Right. Do you believe that the avenue is created now where Of course, transitioning in music has to happen because your time, the time before you was something a little different as well. So there must be transitioning. But did we miss the fine print as to transition? Yes, but there's some vital things that you just can't leave out. Like you said, you believe that the key to music of longevity is to be passionate. When you do music, do music to connect from the soul. Yeah. Do you think we don't have that now? Ras, what you say?
Well, I personally, for me, the best way for me to explain it in layman terms is like, don't care how the music progress. Obviously, the younger people would always have a different style and way to change it, but in layman terms, the 2 times table still remains the 2 times table.
Right.
So all the maths is come from around the 2 times table. So once you go and have an approach to the music, a good melody, a storyline, where Kaiso is concerned with, and humor is very important.
Right.
And you would find that good music will remain in the archives for years to come. But when them ingredients in the music, and you just decide to bring noise, the noise gonna happen. In other words, layman terms again. For me as a Rasta man, I deal with ground provision music. The music right now is fast food music. So the fast food music, there's a lot of repercussions coming from the fast food. The ground provision is longevity, good health. So I always use that terminology in the music. So once your melodies keep improving and your storyline, your wit, your humor, and you're consistent, your music gonna be on the shelves for a long time to come and in the library for a long time. But what we have now is fast forward music, and sometimes for me as a Rasta man, when I speak, I don't want no complications, no misunderstanding. So some people might get vexed because I might appear to be too straight.
Right.
But to me, I prefer to be straight and be truthful than to put things in people's head to make people if and but and wish. So,
Right, and like I mentioned, you just heard some wisdom on music from the veterans, but they're also very, very much involved in terms of some of the things that are contribution to our societal breakdown. We had a nice little conversation about where we're at right now with our youths, but still, why we shouldn't give up on them. Breakdown within the whole everything break down because a lot of that came from poetry writing within the school setting as well. So you understood how to put together a nice little poetry set. So when you come to writing a song now, which is what it is, it's a poetry. You know how to craftily, put it together, and a lot of this time we don't even see that anymore.
My sister, let me tell you something. You're so right. In recent years, out of plain curiosity, I decided, you know what? I'm going to concentrate on writing poems. So, between the 30th of August 2017 and the 10th of September 2023, I wrote 3,000 poems. Right? So,
wow.
Understand, this had nothing to do with the 1,500 odd songs that I wrote. Right? And, we had book launching and this and that and that. But most young people wouldn't take time to read a book with poems, right? And what Ras said is absolutely correct. What happened is the attitude of the society. Now, you have a situation where, look at West Indies cricket, right? We were world champions. But somehow, I wouldn't say all, some young people playing the game decided that they are doing their own thing. So they didn't care about no Richards and no Sobers and no Greenwich and not even a Sammy. They don't care nothing about that. They're doing their own thing, right?
They come like they start this. They start with them, Yeah.
And so to use Ras word, mediocrity
Yeah.
started to creep in to the society, period. Not just in terms of the music, but in terms of the cricket, in terms of manners, behavioral patterns, etc., etc. And we could go on and on.
On and on.
Because we can identify each and every one of them, right? And so, you say exhibited in school now. I do some teaching now for since 1979, right? I'm going to school, so the rest would drop me to the schools and so
Right.
on. And you see the change in behavior. It's like you can't even explain it. You had little boys, 10 years old, looking at teachers and telling them, "Ma'am, no disrespect to you, but I don't really feel it being in here right now,
Yeah.
Out through the door.
Wow.
I had a fella, can't call his whole name, but let's say Malachi.
Mm.
And I remember Malachi. Miss Brewster, you know I love you. You're a very good teacher, but right now I don't feel to be here,
Wow.
I'll see you tomorrow, okay? And she said, you cannot leave. But I cannot leave. I'm leaving. And out through the door, so the guard stops him. And he start quarreling and cursing and getting on and thing. They bring him back. They send him psychiatrist, psychologist, social worker, etc., etc. They can't find nothing wrong with this boy. Yet he had two siblings who were a little younger than him that were perfect behavior, and the two of them came, and his siblings and him came from the same parents in the same house, but yet his attitudinal tendencies were so contrasting to his siblings, right? But you see it all the time. I remember time I went to teach a school, and these children keeping noise right through. So I went to the principal. I said, "Ma'am, the children, they're not behaving well."
Right.
So she came back. "Why don't you all behave? Mr. Carter is here to teach you all this and that." "Ma'am, we about the music, we about guns. We about guns." "What do you mean?" "Well, I not real guns, right? But I have a video game, and in my game, right, a man just take a gun and shoot down a plane. All people just die." The other guy said, "Ma'am, he game soft, man. That ain't a game. My game, a woman just get raped."
Oh, the virtual thing, the virtual world.
I said, so this soft thing, man. I like
see what
everywhere,
we- so
but
you
I
see-
ain't about that.
You see
so,
what we're battling with
yeah.
then?
So he said, so she said, "Don't you like any artists?" So I said, "You like Bob Marley?" "Bob hard, man." I said, "But if you like your own music, you will love it just as much as you love Bob music, But it is a societal thing, right?
Break down from
So
real
it affects the
inspiration.
music and affects the academia and so many aspects of our lives. So we as artists, as veterans, we cannot bow to that. We have to stand up and say, look, this is right and that is wrong.
Stand the ground.
Stand your ground and make sure that you still teach them. And some of them do come back, I met a guy one day in town. Of course, he was a little aggressive because I went to buy some fruits and I felt this slap on my hand. So,
Really?
yeah. I said, "What happened, man?" "You cannot buy no fruits here." So I said, "Why?" "You can't remember me, Gabby?" I said, "No." "You can't remember me trying to stow away at your show?" I said, "No, what's that?" "Man, yes, man, you told me to come around to don't stow away, and you let me in, and I told you I had two other friends who were about to jump the wall, and you told me to let them come in too." "Man, I can't forget that, Gabby, man." I said, "But I didn't do no special thing." When I was your age, I'd be glad to attend certain shows. I didn't have the money either, so it's okay. And you know what those youngsters did? It picked up every bottle, every piece of paper, everything that was in that place, and put down chairs and start bringing people. Good night, mom, and this is welcome to the show. And so I didn't tell them to do that, but they wanted to compensate me for that. And when he hit me, he told me he wanted to buy something for me, because he always wanted to buy something for me.
God.
And that is why, he
So there will always be these success stories. So
yes,
you have
the
to
others.
keep it,
So
yes.
that's why you could never give up on them.
Absolutely.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's SocaCize session. Leading the wine is Lorianne Sushan, Shani Victorine, Sarah Alexander, and Vernell Augustine. Let's get ready to wine. For this morning's workout, we will be doing a groovy stretch routine to Close to Me by Kiss.
Stay close to me. Break your back when you whine like that. Move
4,
slow for me.
3, 2, 1. Take
Stay
it up.
close to me.
Right arm, bend it.
Hold me tighter.
Pull gently
Wrap
at the
your arms
elbow.
around me.
Switch.
Girl, me don't know why you drift away. The way you put it on me,
Take it up.
make me walk
Open
hard
out.
every day.
Right hand across the
One
chest.
touch, one thing
And
that's
push
not
towards.
just back it
4,
up.
3,
I'll let me spark it
2,
up.
1.
Girl, me want do what you want
And
to.
switch.
Lift up the thing if you wanna. Nah. Body to body you wanna. Nah.
4,
I got time if you
3,
wanna. Nah.
2,
Girl, I want you stay
1.
close.
Open
Lift
out.
up the thing if you wanna.
Arms behind the back.
Body to body you wanna. Nah.
Push down.
I got time if you wanna. Nah. Everything that you do, girl, I want you stay
Release.
close to me.
Hug
Break your
yourself.
back when you whine like that, move slow for me. Yeah. Stay
Open out.
close to me.
Switch the arms.
Hold me tight and wrap your arms around me. Yeah.
Open
Yeah.
out.
Them don't really have to
Arms
know.
up.
You
Lean
want
to the right.
somebody
Make sure the
just
chest
to
is
give you that
facing
thing on the
forward.
low.
Take it up.
I know what you're
and
feeling,
switch.
but it's about time that you give me that love.
And you're still
I'm
breathing
not
as you're
trying to
stretching.
keep that up. So tell me
Take
you
it
get
up.
this.
Open
Get
out.
this. So
We'll
we can
isolate
get
the hip.
straight to the
Right.
point. Yeah.
Roll.
Lift
4,
up the thing if you
3,
wanna.
2,
Body to body
left
you
side.
wanna.
4,
I got time if you
3,
wanna.
2. We're going to use the core. Squeeze.
Lift up the thing if you wanna.
And up.
Body to body you wanna.
Squeeze.
I got time if you wanna.
And out from here, we drop the
Everything
chest,
that you do,
bend at
girl, I
the
want you
hips.
stay close to me.
Nice flat back.
Bring you back when you whine like that. Move slow for me. Move slow for me. Oh,
Tuck the tailbone in, arch
stay
the back,
close to me.
and
girl.
roll up. Your head is the last
Hold
thing
me tight.
to come
Don't
up.
let go. No.
We're going to take the right leg.
How want you hold on to me,
To the back.
girl? Give me the thing
Focus
when
on
you're
one
whining.
spot.
How want you
Hold
rough
on
up
to
the
something,
thing,
you can
girl?
do that.
Because you know how I like
We're
it.
going to bring the leg
How want you
forward.
hold on to me, girl? You know how I feel it. Stay close
And
to
switch.
me. Stay
Left
close
leg.
to me.
Forward. And down. Thank you so much for joining us for this morning's workout. We hope you are feeling sexy, sultry, and strong. Have a wonderful day.
There you have it. That's our show for this morning. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you was inspired in some way or the other. I certainly was. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go on out and be awesome and be great. It's Monday. Have an awesome week.